tomorrow. I will be the master of ceremony there, and the emphasis for that event is going to be relationships. So that's going to be the care that I know we're going to be stressing for tomorrow. The PTA is also going to be putting forth a fashion show to advertise everything that we have to offer. So we attempt to boost themselves there as well. Our book fair is next week, which also includes grad night. As I explained with the previous board meeting, it's going to be on next Wednesday. So we will be advertising for that as well. The results for that. Our harvest party, October 31st. PTA will be providing plates, napkins, and bottled water to the classrooms. Parent-teacher conferences, November the 4th. PTA will be providing mini sandwiches, chips, and a veggie tray for our lovely teachers, faculty, and staff for a nice afternoon snack for that event. Our Math Science After-School Program. We ran Math Science last year. We're running it this year. The theme is going to be NASA. Last year, we ran it as a big group of K through 5. Based on feedback that we've received, we've decided to split it up between K through 2 and 3 through 5. It'll still run for 6 consecutive Wednesdays, starting on November the 6th, running through December the 18th. And that will run from 3:30 to 4:30 in the PTA room and the one right next to it. Our first big fundraiser of the year, Tribal Bar and Grill, which was our largest fundraiser of the year last year, will be running starting November 12th. And then finally, we have our holiday shopping, which will be running from December 9th through the 13th this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this time we'll have a school report, academic committee. Welcome. Good evening to all of our esteemed guests here today, our board chair, and all of our family, faculty, and friends, and most importantly, I always like to say our scholars. We are going to come and share with you about the academic committee, but one thing I want to start with the academic committee. If my scholars are able to recite for us what is our school affirmation. And Faith, come forward, please. And I'm here with you. And we want to make sure that our guest helps us. So this is what we do in the morning. We make sure that we start our day in a positive way. We talk about the power of words and how important they are. And so we, the scholars, Shayla, come up here. And you're going to say it together so you don't have to feel alone. Come on up here.
Now,
Come on.
good.
And we're going to recite for you. Looks like Michael Lucas. I need to keep these kids that are. So together we're going to say, what do we say first? I say it. I am a leader. What's next?
Make positive choices.
Say it loud. I do what?
I make positive choices. I work hard. Seek opportunities.
Respect myself and others.
I respect myself and others. I seek opportunities.
I am a leader. By the end of the year, we'll have this pretty down pat. But I want you to understand the power of words. And you just saw 3 of our distinguished leaders. We had an opportunity for these young people to stand before their peers and not only just do an affirmation, but give speeches for governor and mayor. And so they're not shy as much as they appear to be. But I do appreciate all of you for saying that, because I am a leader. I make positive choices. I work hard every day. I respect myself and others. And I seek opportunities because I am a leader. And that's also correlated with our core values. So each statement, character is I make the positive choices. Academics, I work hard every day. Relationships, I respect myself and others. Entrepreneurship, I seek opportunities. So again, everything we do is aligned. It's not something we wake up and say it's a good idea. We will also be sending that information out to our families so that it's not just something we do at school, but we want our families to be able to encourage and say every day. So that's my intro to academics. So when we talk about academics, it's how we start our day. And then we talk about, if you go to, I don't see a slide number page, and I apologize because we will be moving forward. It'll be only the information that is being presented will be in your presentation here. It starts with focus goal. On average, each student will demonstrate a 5% growth in STAR reading and math proficiency. You'll see there's pillars that are represented there. And so our first one, I'm going to start off with the glows, the grows, and then I'm going to have Ms. Zook share with us our data. The first part we like to share is our mentoring program. The mentoring program is partnered, it was partnered so that we can introduce not only our new teachers, but even returning teachers to be able to have someone that they can talk to, someone that they can learn the ways of the school, to learn the culture and how things run. And then we have our enrichment program, which is for grades 3 through 5. It's engineering and technology for 3rd and 5th grade, and 6th and 8th grade, their focus is robotics. Our data, we're excited about PHCSE data documents. We are in the discussion. We started looking at that data, analyzing that data, and we're looking at the school-wide data day, which we've already had, where we stop, drop, and do data. The area that we want to grow in is called individual professional development opportunities. But we're grateful this past Monday we had the opportunity to visit several schools. It was led by Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Zook, myself, Ms. Rupert, and Mr. Klingscales, and we took the entire the entire staff. We broke into groups of about 6 or so, and we had an opportunity to see what some best practices are around math. We realized that math is an area that we need to focus on. So we wanted to make sure that we were looking at schools. For example, the school I went to in Trafford, they were 89% proficient and 92% proficient when it related to math and ELA. So those are the schools that we were trying to look at. And then there were schools we were looking at for culture. We were looking at exposing our staff to what are the different cultural makeups. So we went to McKeesport, we went to Plum, Penn Trafford, Urban Academy. Did I forget any others? So, pardon me? Oblock and Plum. So those are the schools that we went to be able to look at and identify some best practices. And also what we did was we established relationships. We found out some things that we could do that we were like, oh, that's a possibility. So it was a really, I would say, an experience that our teachers went away saying we could actually use the data. We didn't just go and look. We had a rubric that we had the teachers, every teacher had a rubric to be able to identify best practices, so we gave them look for when they were there. And then afterwards, we had a nice lunch, and we talked about what did we see that was really great, what are some things that we can actually see as barriers, and what are some things that are going to be our next steps. So the academic committee has been charged to take the next steps to be able to figure out what are some things that we can actually do this year, or what are some things that we need to table for next year. So I want to say that area of growth, we're already working on growing in that way. Our next steps is actually creating what we call an e-portfolio for our mentoring program. So we have a binder that we give our teachers, but now we're looking to say, let's go electronic with that. Enrichment student selection. So there's a whole process and a rubric that we have to undergo to get the enrichment program up and running. So we have the rubric now, we're just starting to identify students because we wanted to first take the STAR assessment to see where students are, get our first grading period so we can see academically where students are so that we can then begin that process. And then we're developing a united problem-solving strategies for mathematics. We realize, again, mathematics is the area that we are weak in at this moment, but with our math coach, Mr. Julock, with his support, he's been a wonderful asset to our faculty and being able to provide that resource as well as looking at data. And just our staff just speaks all the time. What we do with his nickname is Juju. His name is Mr. Julock, so he's affectionately known as Mr. Juju. And so he helps wherever needed. It's not even just math. I've had English teachers say, you know, whatever we need, he's there to support us. So I just want to say thank you publicly to you. Thank you, Ms. Shook, for being here. Thank you all. But that's my portion that I want to share with you. I'm going to give this over to Ms. Zook that's going to talk about our STAR data, what that means, and when we gave it so that you can probably get into that next section. So thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to talk to you a
slide, September 3rd through the 10th is when we gave our STAR Early Literacy, STAR Reading, and STAR Math assessment. STAR Early Literacy is only for our kindergarten little ones. They do not take the STAR Reading and STAR Math. STAR Reading and STAR Math are for grades 1 through 8. So as Mrs. Thomas mentioned, on the top of all of the academic slides is our goal for this year. And you notice that our goal directly relates to the STAR assessment, because that is something that is taken school-wide, where while we value the PSSA data, it is not something that's done school-wide. So it's hard for it to be our goal when we're a school of K-8 to have a goal that only would reach our 3rd through 8th graders. So our STAR data, again, was given in that first and second week of school. That was early. So this data that you're looking at is the data straight from summer, right? There wasn't much instruction given before this data was taken. So as you start flipping through the next slides, and I'm not going to read numbers for you, but you'll see that these slides are broken down by each grade level. So first, the next slide is that STAR Early Literacy data for our kindergartners. And I'll go over that one just so you have some background information for the future slides. You can see that last, under the green part, you see the at or above benchmark / advanced. We have 52% of our kindergartners at the beginning of the year that were where they needed to be at that time. So the way the STAR assessment looks at students is where they're at that point in the year and how they should be. When we talk about CDT in a minute, it's a lot different in how it looks at that. So then as you move down, you'll see our STAR reading data for each grade level. You see 1st and 2nd grade students there. Then the next slide, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. You will see as we move through the upper grades, as numbers do go down some. We're well aware of this. This is not something that the academic committee is not working on and not working on consistently. After those STAR reading data slides, you'll see the STAR math. And again, overall, the first thing you'll probably notice is those numbers in general are lower than the STAR reading data. Again, as Mrs. Thomas mentioned, math is our focus. We know this is our area of need and where we're constantly working. And as she said, why we just went to those 5 schools to look at some of the best practices that are happening. As you move on to the first slide about the CDT, Classroom Diagnostic Tools. So the CDT is a program that is provided to us through the state. This program gives us real data on how the students would perform on the PSSA the day they took it. So when you start looking at these numbers, so for example on the next slide, for the math CDT, you'll see that in 3rd grade, it says 7.3% of our students are at or above benchmark. Looks like a scary number, right? But that's it in early October, so after very little instruction, if they took the PSSA that day, where they would most likely land. This tool gives us a huge amount of resources for our teachers. This lets us know what our students in general already know, where some gaps may be from previous grades. We receive a few new students every year that weren't with us the year before, so it's important for us to see for those students who are coming to us maybe in the 4th or 5th grade where they might have some gaps that we need to work on. So this is an amazing tool. It gives us sample questions that are just like the PSSA questions. It links the teachers straight to SAS resources, the Standards Aligned System for the state of PA. So this is an amazing resource that we utilize. The teachers, starting next week, are going to be participating in CDT data chat. So now myself, Mrs. Thomas, Mrs. Williams, Mr. Dulock will be meeting with the teachers to go over this data and make sure we have plans to improve those numbers that you currently see. Are there any questions? Yeah.
Is this a tool that we used last year?
It is a tool we used last year, yes.
And do you show the progression throughout the year?
Yeah, so great question. So we're using the CDT a little different this year. We've been reaching out to resources in throughout Allegheny County, especially the Allegheny Intermediate Unit is a great resource to us. And CDT has done a lot of changing over the summer. So Mr. Dulock and I actually had to go to a training because it changed so much this year. So due to that, we gave the full CDT, and this is kind of like the teacher school language, right? But we gave the full CDT, so it's like the full PSSA at the beginning of the year. That takes quite a bit of time. We ran on a 2-hour delay schedule. Schools school ran 2 hours late, so they tested in the morning, and then they had their normal rest of the day with like shortened periods. If we were to do that multiple times throughout the year, that takes a lot of our instruction time, and it's not something that we necessarily need with having our start time as well. So how we're going to utilize this tool for the rest of the year is as teachers finish a specific reporting category or like unit in their assessment. So as I finish algebraic concepts, and I finish maybe the 2 chapters that dealt with that, at the end of that I'm going to give the post-CDT on just that reporting category. So now I have my beginning of the year data where my students were, and now after I've taught this unit, where are my students now? Where did they grow? And maybe there's still some gaps. So now my ISTs or my instructional support teachers can help pull some students and fill those gaps in there may still be. So that's definitely how we're going to continue. So a little different than last year because we didn't have that option last year. So that's a new advantage to the way CDT is working now, which we're excited about. Any other questions?
When will parents be able to see the results of the STAR test?
Yeah, great question. So they're actually sitting on my desk. Not sitting on my desk to wait, but conference time I think will be the best time for teachers to be able to explain those. As well as I know your PSSA results were already uploaded to Skyward. They were, as soon as we got them, we were one of the few schools that did that, so you had that information right away. But the parent report just came to us within the last couple weeks, so we're going to give you those at parent-teacher conferences as well. So you'll get all that information then. Great question. Anything else? Yeah.
So the unit assessments
Yeah.
throughout, are those cumulative or are they just for those specific subjects?
So this CDT is for literacy and for math. So for the specific, they call them reporting categories. So that's the way the state standards are broken down in the state of PA. So different grade levels have different reporting categories. But yeah, for each one of those reporting categories. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board on any of the reports? All right. Action item 4, the consent agenda for approval. May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take the vote. All in favor? Aye. Mr. Taylor, do you have a financial report for us?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm assuming since there's a short amount of people, not a very large amount, we should be okay here anyways. So we're going to brief synopsis on why math is important and why we should work on our math skills and have the math page. This is our financial report. So I won't go into a whole lot of detail, but as you take a look at the school financial page, basically, we are on pace as far as revenues, and we are actually running lower than expected budget for expenditures. So we are currently, at the end of September, have $283,000 in cash, and our current receipts are $301,000. As you can also see, we're actually up in enrollment, and we're actually currently at a higher net income than we were last year and at this time last year. So our tuition is out of 26%, and our revenues, our expenditures are at 19%. So the state of the union is flowing well. I feel very comfortable where our numbers are, and I think we'll end up in a very good place at the end of the school year. Any questions?
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
you referenced the tuition as well as reference. Can you just let board those on page?
Oh, page. So they're on page 2 of 10. It's our comparative balance statement. It's our comparative balance statement, so you can see where we were at the end of the fiscal year compared to where we are now. What I'd like to show is basically at the end of the fiscal year, school districts owed us $633, and we are now currently, school districts owe us $78. $80,000. So we are doing our due diligence to make sure that all our money that is due to us from the last school year has been collected. So of course, the numbers will be a little lower for the current year because we're just beginning the current year.
Any questions or comments on the financial report from the board? Seeing none. Action item number 5, new business. New business from the board. Just on behalf of the board, we just send our thoughts and prayers to the family that had the accident recently, and know that school safety is of the utmost importance to this board, and the leadership and the faculty of the school, and that we are always observant of those things, and our hearts and prayers go out to that family. Okay, at this time, I'll open it up for any public comment.
I just want to publicly acknowledge you as our board chair and the award that you just received. And so we just want to take the time to say it's an honor to be able to serve with and for someone of your caliber, and we don't take it lightly. And so we just want to say celebrate you and say congratulations. As well as our CEO, who was also acknowledged on the same day. So how ironic is that they both were honored on the very same day for their outstanding achievements. So just congratulations to both of you. Welcome in our new board members. We want to say thank you for taking on this journey, because again, your input, your presence is important to the development and the growth of our school. So thank you, and thank you, now I'm going to say, thank you, Mr. Al, for your continual support. Thank you, Josh, for always being here, and everyone that's here, especially my scholars again. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay. Seeing no other public comment, we will adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.